This is the Mavic 3, DJI's latest flagship foldable drone, and one of the most common complaints that you'll hear about the Mavic 3 is that many people will tell you that it takes a really long time for this aircraft to get connected to the network of GPS satellites. And personally for me, it usually takes between 2 to 3 minutes to get fully connected.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
And on the rare occasions, I've also seen that it can also take over 5 minutes. What? And why is this a big deal? Well, sometimes for people like me, we just want to take off as fast as we can so we can capture that candid moment that's unfolding right in front of us. Like trying to catch the perfect lighting conditions before the sun sets, trying to catch a speedboat. And sometimes I just want to be able to take off as quickly as possible without attracting any attention. Now luckily, these officers were very friendly and one of them even owns a DJI Mavic. They just wanted to know what I was doing, and I told them that DJI had just released a new firmware update that supposedly helps the Mavic 3 connect to GPS quicker. And I was here on the 6th floor of an empty multi-level car park to compare the GPS connection speeds between the Mavic 3 and the Mavic Air2S.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
And as you can see, the Mavic Air2S is able to connect to GPS a lot faster than the Mavic 3. While the Mavic 3 was about a minute behind the Air2S with a respectable 1 minute and 30 seconds.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Now of course you can take off without fully connecting the Mavic 3 to GPS, but you'll be giving up some of the smart features like the return to home function,
Go home.
and you'll also be limited to a max altitude of 30 meters.
Maximum flight altitude reached.
And also, without GPS, your Mavic 3 will be more susceptible to horizontal drifting during windy conditions, which can cause you to crash if you're flying in a very tight space. Now, coming back to our results, I think we've established that the Air2S is usually quicker to get full GPS signal.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
And the fastest it was able to connect was in 30 seconds. Whereas the Mavic 3 ranges from 1 to 3 minutes. And as you can see, the fastest it could do before the firmware update was 1 minute. So after applying the firmware update, these were our results. The Mavic Air2S remains undeniably faster, but the Mavic 3 is now not too far off, trailing between 15 to 20 seconds behind. So, has the firmware update helped? Well, I like to think that it has. However, there was this one test that we did where the Mavic 3 was still struggling for GPS signal post the firmware update. I like to think that it was the tall trees that were blocking the GPS signal from getting to the Mavic 3, but that doesn't quite explain why the Mavic Air2S was able to connect to GPS in a lot less time. So, if you guys have got any theories on this, we'd like to hear from you in the comment section below. Now, because we did a bunch of tests, we've observed that there were a couple of things that you could do that could speed up your GPS connection time even without doing the firmware update. Thing number 1, try launching your Mavic 3 in a wide open area, away from trees and tall buildings, and you'll find that your Mavic 3 will connect to GPS in around a minute or so, with or without the firmware update. Thing number 2, try launching your Mavic 3 in an elevated area, and that will also help speed up your GPS connection time. Prior to the firmware update launching from the roof of this car park, we recorded a time of 1 minute and 30 seconds. After the firmware update, it was around a minute.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Even on a cloudy day. So perhaps maybe that firmware update might have helped after all. And one last tip, if you do find yourself launching from a multi-level car park, make sure you don't park right in front of the surveillance camera. So, we hope you've enjoyed this video, and if it has, please don't forget to leave us a thumbs up, and please do consider subscribing so you can stay tuned for more videos like these. Thank you for watching, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!